Sky Squad, what's going on, y'all? Every once in a while I get to a story and I'm just like, I don't even know if I really want to tackle it. I was sitting here doing some self care today, just relax, relate, release, as Whitley Gilbert would say. And I was just minding my business and I came across this story. And it took me a while to say, okay, we're going to talk about this because there's some other things that we got to talk about in conjunction, but not really conjunction, but just around the subject of Kandi. And I really hate that this story has come up because this is, I think, the week that Kandi is celebrating her eighth anniversary of being married to Todd. So shout out to Kandi and the gang. But this story with Block is making the rounds, so we got to talk about it. Okay. Now, if you head over to the Neighborhood Talk, you guys, shout out to the Neighborhood Talk for capturing this. This was an excerpt from Block, who is the father of Riley Burruss. And this clip from his interview with Vlad TV is making the rounds. It's everywhere at this point. So I figured we're going to talk about it right quick, right here. According to this, and if you listen to it, I mean, he goes into detail about it. I'm not going to play it on here because that's Vlad's. But it says Kandi Burruss' baby daddy, Big Block, says their daughter Riley is jealous that his other children were all raised in his house. Quote, "It's jealousy. And how you put me on child support if you got more money than me." At a basic level, bro, you are responsible for the seeds that you lay out. And what I mean by that is you are a father. You are responsible when you lay down with somebody and procreate. You become responsible at that moment. Whether or not you was in a relationship with somebody else, whether you was with Kandi on the side, I really don't care. But the moment you decide to lay down and, under those circumstances, there's a child that's born, then you are responsible for that child. And as such, you are responsible for the care giving of your child. And your child, I don't care how much money the mama make, okay? You still have in real estate school, we learn about this term fiduciary. But you still have a financial responsibility to provide care for the child in question. And in this case, that is Riley. Now, luckily, she has a mother and a family that have provided for her, and her mother has been a hustler who has worked, okay, in the industry, in the game, and has worked to be able to provide for Riley. However, if there also is a court-mandated child support request, then that request should also be honored, okay? And I don't know whether or not he is, if there's money that is owed, then he is responsible for paying for it, regardless, okay? That's the number one thing I wanted to touch on. And the number two thing that I wanted to touch on with this story is, I just find it distasteful that he would say that his own child is jealous because he lives with his other children full time. I just find that so distasteful for a father to say. And the reason I really didn't want to talk about this is because I just feel like, honestly, no child should ever have to hear that. But in doing news and commentary, how we do it over here, um, the the route that I'm going to take is A, it was distasteful. B, I hate that this is even coming up, and I hate that Riley has to hear about it. But what I can say for sure, Miss Riley, is that thank God you had a caring mother, a praying grandmother, family around you, and a stepfather who I'm sure loves you. Okay. And you ain't got to want for nothing at this point in your life. And that's a blessing. And so just in speaking to the family about that, I wish he hadn't said that. Whatever his truth is his truth according to him. I'm not gonna I wish he wouldn't speak on that. That's pretty much it. Because I just find it distasteful, and it it is got to be painful for a daughter to hear that. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that was even spoken. I really am. Um, and that's all I have to say about that. I went on a little bit longer than I intended to, but I had to work through my thoughts on this one. I really did. So, in other bad news for Kandi, okay, we gotta just while we're gonna talk about it, um, we gotta talk about the ratings for Kandi in the Gang. Now, according to our friends over at the TV Deets, the ratings were not good this week, even though this episode was hilarious. We're 5 episodes in, and this was the season low for this past week with 383,000 viewers for Sunday night's viewing. Now, Kandi and the Gang has had a bit of a tough road with it with regards to ratings because the last 2 weeks have been major award show events. Now, granted, these events haven't been the highest rated of their own respective events. Speaking of the Grammys and speaking of which happened this weekend, and also speaking about the Oscars, it's been a tough road for Kandi to have to compete with those two juggernaut events featuring stars. And, last week's episode completely overshadowed by the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, which is continuing to make waves even as we speak right now. And then you have the Grammys. I was definitely tuned into the Grammys, but I also then flipped over to Kandi and the Gang because at a certain point the Grammys does get a little slow, and I wanted to make sure that I got my viewing in for Kandi and the Gang. I'm not sure if the ratings count from like streaming services, like because I watch via YouTube TV. Some people may watch via, I'm not sure if they have Hulu Live, and some people may be watching via cable. I myself don't have cable because I just find that the streaming services tend to work for me the best. So again, it's been a tough road for Kandi and the Gang, and I'm really hopeful that we get a big bounce back next week because this show is good. The show is good. It's good. It's fun. It's funny. It's fun without feeling toxic. Okay? But right now we're going to talk about Miss Wendy Williams real quick. So this has been edited, and I can tell you that it's been edited because the post on where I initially saw it was the Neighborhood Talk. Shout out to them. The post on the Neighborhood Talk says ready for court, smiley face. As you guys can see here, there's been an edit 55 minutes ago, and it just says ready. I guess whoever wrote the caption, whether it was Wendy, an assistant, or whomever, decided that they wanted to take away the court part, or at least not let the people know that today was a big court day. Hopefully, this is Wendy heading to court to get her money back from Wells Fargo. Okay, get control of her finances so she can get back to the business of life. Can you imagine what it would be like to not have access to your bank accounts, to your money, that your hard-earned money that you worked for so hard and so diligently? Can you imagine that? I hope and pray the court went well for you, Wendy. And I hope that today begins the journey of financial independence and freedom from the shackles of whatever is happening in that whole situation. Okay?